Hey, hey! I don't know if you can hear in the background, but the church bells are ringing, which means it's time to return to YouTube. Hey, everybody, Happy New Year. I'll tell you what, it's been a heck of a time. Since I've last spoke to you all, some really cool stuff has happened and some not cool stuff that has turned into really cool stuff. And I'll start at the beginning. So in November, on a Tuesday, I'd finished doing a hike of a 5-acre piece of property that's adjacent to the property I already bought here in Costa Rica. Beautiful, monster piece of this mountain. I finished that walk, got down to the bottom of the hill, lit up a cigarette, and didn't feel very good. The cigarette tasted like shit. Anyway, me and my buddy, we got in the car, coming down the hill, and I said, I got to go to the hospital. Make a super long story short, I was having a heart attack. Yes, got to the hospital. Emergency medical intervention happened. Beautiful modern medicine took place, and I was spared my life and told that I had a blockage in an artery. We'd have to get that taken care of. And that started this little deal. I spent that week in the hospital. They did a catheterization. They go into your veins of my right arm. They could not remove the blockage or insert a stent, but what they did do is put me on some various medications, kept me in the hospital until they could do all the stuff they wanted to do with the sonograms and different stuff to see how my heart was responding. Apparently, my blood vessels in my heart started growing around the area of the blockage, and they said, you appear to be okay. We're going to keep you on these medications and just observe you from a distance. You can go home. So I went home after 10 days of hospitalization. I talked to Brady, decided to take the rest of November and the month of December off to try to get my shit together. And that's what I did. What that looked like is I got my son here from the United States. He's going to permanently be here, learn the family business, and obviously be a part of the building of this property and land development thing we're going to do up in the mountain. Let's see what else. I wanted to come back. I'm here back on the YouTube channel because I love it. This is something I really, really enjoy doing. I missed Brady, and truth is, I missed all of you. And I'd like to start at the beginning and say hi to everybody. So JDO and Lorena, Danny Steele, Bill Gould, JD Leg is in the house, Jungle Link, Bill Gould, Edward, Johnny Midas. Let's see here. Boy, some people are having conversations. Chris, hey Chris. We got Eric Kepler. We got Pete Kelly, Lori, Crawford, Ellie Poole, Trevor, nice to have you. John Vinsky, nice to have you in the house. So, folks, I'm telling you, yes, I did have a heart attack. It was scary. It sucked, but actually it was really, really good. The reason it was really good is because for many years I have procrastinated doing some things that I really needed to do for myself. One, start taking better care of myself, really. What that looked like is changing my diet, changing my movement or exercise regime, and giving up those stinky cigarettes. 40-year smoker. Well, you know, I kept saying tomorrow was going to be the day I was going to make the changes. As long as it wasn't today. Well, that heart attack kind of changed all that, like, quickly, right? There is no more putting it off till tomorrow. It is, the time is here now. So I've been nicotine free since the event. I've dramatically changed the way I eat, and I am exercising a lot more. And I've had a really great opportunity to bring my son into my world and the things that I'm doing around wealth building and asset management, and the way I'm looking at finance, and the way I look at spending and this and that and the other thing. And it's been really, 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 really fun. And that's been really good because I'm watching him grow. And he's got a desk in an office on the other side of the wall for me. And in the mornings I can hear Michael Saylor or Raoul Powell videos going on. He's learning about finance and economics and these kind of things. And for a father, that just brings a smile to my face and makes me feel really good. So that's enough about that. Let's get into what is shaking here. Folks, the market. Hey, hey, hey. I've gotten so many messages and phone calls from friends who have recently gotten into this space, maybe in the last year. And they're like, what's going on? Well, here's my take of what's going on. What's going on is that the stock market and the crypto market have enough real smart money. And when I say smart money, I'm talking about people who have been investors for a long time, whether it be institutional or even retailers, like a lot of us. They have a tendency to listen to influencers now, and I don't mean influencers like YouTube. I'm talking about influencers like Jerome Powell. When the Fed, when the Federal Reserve Bank says it's going to affect its policy or programs around how it borrows, buys, or lends, its balance sheet, it sends ripples through the market in good ways or bad ways. Well, if you followed this channel for any great period of time, you know I've talked a lot about debt and the staggering debt that the world is under. Well, when the Federal Reserve says they're thinking about implementing two very or even three very small interest rate increases over the year 2022 at 75 basis points a pop, that's not even a percent, right? I'm sorry, three interest rate hikes at 0.25% each, a quarter of a percent, three different times, not even a full percent, but a total of 0.75% over the next year. And the market freaks the F out. Well, why do they freak the F out? Because the world, whether it be governments, other governments, corporations, especially corporations, are leveraged in debt up to their eyeballs, and any increase in the cost to borrow money affects their ability to roll over their debt and continue doing the same things that they've been doing. That sends tremendous red flags throughout the system. That's how fragile our markets really are. Our financial markets are so fragile that a discussion that occurred in December and was made public in January to raise the cost to borrow money from the Federal Reserve by 0.75% has sent multiple markets into the poo-poo, freaking out. How are we going to deal with this? To me, it really goes to show just how fragile and how in debt the world and the markets are, that under a percent increase would make people freak out. So anyway, that is my take in a nutshell of what the shakeout that we're seeing now is. It's just scared money. Don't worry. If you're in crypto, all this is an opportunity for you to buy the assets that you've been studying and researching and believe are truly valuable, to buy more of them at a lower cost. It doesn't change the value proposition. Matter of fact, it really only increases the value proposition, right? So Sylvia, nice to have you. We got Kelly Slade chiming in. So cool. So this shakeout that's occurring right now is really only shaking out the fast money bet. The fast money bet. Fast money bets on the fact that increased capital allocation, right, or acquisition can be done at a rate lower in the future than it is today. And that's the whole game. Can I borrow money next week cheaper than I can borrow it today? And if that is the case, then I'm going to borrow more. And if I borrow more, I can do what? Well, in the case of corporate America, it's generally buy more of my own stock, which affects supply and demand, right? If I'm a corporation and I buy my own stock and I reduce the supply of my stock that's in the market, making it appear to be more valuable, well, then it will be, right? People look, oh my goodness, there's a run on this stock. We need to get some, or we need to add more. And there's always a buyer for a certain kind of asset. It's the passive flows generated by the countless 401k, the blood-sucking vampires of the retirement markets. These passive income flows that come from all of you that are working jobs, that have elected and checked the little, I'll take the deferred tax route and have somebody manage a fund. Hey, Dale, nice to have you here. Thank you for chiming in. And Riz XRP, nice to have you here. So anyway, that's my take on this. That isn't what I wanted to spend this whole show talking about, though. I want to bring in Brady, and I want to talk to you guys about the thing that I think most of us don't understand well enough. I could be wrong. Some of you might actually be ready to teach a course on this. But I'm finding, as I'm learning more about this particular process, the better informed my vision or outlook of the future is. And it's a direct result of taking that deeper dive. So I know most of you that are tuning into this channel aren't tuning in for price predictions. You're here because you're on the same course of learning that I am. So let me bring in Brady. Or actually, let me have Brady bring himself in because I'm not sure which Brady. Wait, I'm just going to go for it. Is this the right one, Brady?
Bingo bongo.
Hey, I got the right Brady. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to talk. Brady and I will both talk over this graph. This is a graph of an S-curve analysis. Believe it or not, I got this from Brian Estes, and he's with Off the Chain Capital. Great guy. I came across him, obviously going through Real Vision and seeing an interview that he did with Ash Bennington about Bitcoin, and he brought up some of these old graphs and charts that he had from a deck that he was using as a pitch to get new investors into his fund. But what he brought up, and I think this is so valuable, that we start to understand this, and that is this S-curve analysis with new innovations is eerily similar, and it doesn't matter what the technological innovation is. That it's the actual adoption rate of these S-curves, and you stick in the thing, whether it be cars from the horse and buggy era, personal computers in the onset of the dial-up computer wave, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Digital asset, Jared. Boy, Jared, nice to see you, man. I haven't seen Jared in a long time. So anyway, interesting point Brian brought up in this interview. He talked about this particular function as it pertains to time, that most all studied innovational adoptive S-curve analysis shows that the time that it takes to go from 0% adoption to 10% adoption is the same period of time that it takes to go from 11% adoption to 90% adoption. Well, what does that mean in Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin went, if you look at the US number of households that own Bitcoin, from 2010 to 2019, to go from 0 to 10%. So they're saying 2019, we achieved 10% adoption, US households, Bitcoin. That's interesting. That's 9 years. Well, if we follow history and these time frames laid out in this S-curve analysis, then it would be another 9 years from 2019, which would be 2028, to reach 90% adoption. 90% adoption. Well, what does that look like? The world has never had a truly fixed supply asset in something like this. We've never seen it. We've always been able to create more as adoption was scaling up, right? What did it look like in the PC world when PCs, what did it look like with cellular phones? I don't know if you guys remember, but in the 80s, when the computer, the home computer was kind of the new tech, and there was that whole S-curve adoption of home computing going on, there were hundreds of computer manufacturers for personal PCs. Hundreds. United States, Asia, they were all over. And what I found really interesting is when you look at this quote unquote innovational wave, that they're saying, history shows you get to about 50% adoption of the technology, and all of a sudden the shakeout happens, and it's very eerily repeatable. We went from hundreds of companies building personal computers. We went from, in the telecom mobile wave with cellular phones, we went from hundreds of companies developing and building cellular phones, and these industries collapsed down to only the most useful, most utilitarian survived. We'll look at the industry now. How many computer companies are actually really building computers? How many companies are actually really building cell phones? Well, I want you guys to think about that in terms of crypto. How many of the 9,000 cryptos do you think will be here once we go through our crypto goes through its quote unquote shakeout phase? Brady, chime in. What are you thinking? If this chart has any kind of semblance of reality, in that we're at 25% adoption now, currently, right this moment, and we're within a year or two, year and a half, 2.5 years of this shakeout phase, what do you think that looks like? And please, folks, chime in with what you think and what you're feeling and smelling and tasting from wherever you are.
It's hard to think of the shakeout in non-price terms, but I think in looking at this, it seems like it's like a lull in adoption or at least it's where it stagnates the most, but then slowly increases, and then obviously it gets up to the 90. I'm not even sure if we know what that'll look like. I mean, it's hard to, like, all the macro dudes are looking as far ahead as possible to see, hey, what's going to happen in 30 years. Meanwhile, we don't even know what is going on now, so it's a little bizarre to be trying to do that now, but hopefully with these assets we can study, set ourselves up, and make the life we want for ourselves, I guess eventually or gradually or however we make it happen. But adoption is, I don't want to say inevitable, but that's in my mind one of the large pieces of Bitcoin that's sort of missing, or that hasn't either come to fruition yet, or, and I'm not sure if I'm thinking about it from a money standpoint in that sense of adoption, but it'll be nice to see what the world can do once it figures out how to move money online.
And
So I guess that's
Brady and I were
that's
having
what's going to
a
happen.
discussion before the show. It is so interesting that in 2021, the Lightning Network comes to the main stage. When I say the main stage, I'm just talking about, when I say the main stage, it becomes a global topic, right? You've got a country like El Salvador actually commissioning engineers to build this Chiva app that runs on the Lightning Network, and entities and the expansion of companies like Strike and like other Moon Wallet and a bunch of these other ones that are on the Lightning Network, and that the Lightning Network is actually moving value around the globe with a zero cost to the user and achieving bearer instrument finality within a nanosecond. To me, that is just, I mean, I think that it's the shot across the bow to every single rent taker, every single publicly traded company who survives and derives its revenues and cash flows from that 3% fee minimum, not to mention the other companies that scale that up tremendously. There are billions upon billions upon billions of dollars in revenue for companies sucking off being the middleman between the person who is trying to send it and the person who needs to receive it. And we're seeing technology become present and become part of a global consciousness. And it's only, I believe, a matter of time before the dominoes start to fall. Now, whether you like Lightning or not, obviously Riz XRP thinks the Lightning Network sucks. Probably has something to do with the fact that he has a shit ton of his money invested in XRP. And if Lightning is super successful, well, then XRP's value proposition starts to go down a little bit, doesn't it? And I get that. I get that. I generally only root for the horses that I have in the race. And that makes sense. XRP will make Forex traders go extinct. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. Let's hope this digital asset revolution takes all these middlemen and forces them into new careers. Right? But it's just, to me, amazing. And so what that tells me is we're going to see a lot of things change. Utility will steepen the S-curve as well. This is from Mentellec. How do you pronounce that, Brady? Mentellec?
I'm thinking like intellect with mentellect.
Mentellect, or like men with intellect. I like that. Okay. Utility will steepen the S curve, as well as the BTC cycle ends and the utility cycle starts. Utility cycle. I wonder if that is true. If we are starting to transition from speculation to actual utility. I don't know. I think we have to see more things work, right? More volume for blah. So Lightning Network volumes increase, XRP volumes increase, uh, um, um, actual wallets being downloaded and used, etc. Right? Or companies getting involved. Kelly believes that the ISO 20022 coins will do well. I think that payment standards and compliance standards are good. I honestly believe that is important. And so, of course, I think anything that falls in line with compliance standards and payment standards around the world will get used by people that use those payments and believe in those standards. But there also can be things that go ahead and circumvent those standards. There are times when technology circumvents what we got going on and it just goes beyond. It just goes beyond.
Is that like a leapfrog that doesn't land?
Well, it's yeah. We got to see that. We got to see that. I guess it's fair to say enough time has gone by. We could say some of what we didn't understand what would truly happen. But for instance, when we went from everybody who was online was in a physical location, pounding away on a keyboard using a computer that had a big monitor, and there was a big thing, whether it was a tower or you had the Mac, and the Mac was a big thing. You were pounding away online on a computer, and when that all kind of morphed into these operating systems on smartphones, that changed so many things, right? It changed so many things. We had 10 years plus of the computer was the thing. That's how you interacted online, was with a computer. And Apple changed the whole game with a smartphone, and they showed the world that you could take software and create very easy to interface with the client deals on these little handheld numbers. And when it went from you had to be like in a building to use a computer to you could be anywhere. I mean, who would have ever thought that you wouldn't have a map in your glove box? I mean, I'm showing my age, but
or ask for directions. Ooh.
I mean, come on. The so many things bump got changed as a direct result of just the way we use the computer changed. Going to handheld devices changed everything. Changed the way we think about everything. Well, with these digital assets, how many things are going to change that we never thought would change? And then how many things will change that we almost expect? Like, I fully expect a decentralized version of Uber, regionalized, will get made and people will plug into it. And it'll be something that people share mouth to mouth. Like I'm a friend, I'm telling you about it. Hey, have you tried this? You're telling people da 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 da. Because if it works and it adds value, people will do it. Right? Pretty soon there will be decentralized, autonomous Airbnb type apps, anything that has something in the middle of I want it and you're willing to exchange value with me for it. So anything that is already in the middle of a buyer and a seller, or a service and a service uh, recipient, a service provider and a service recipient, all of that shit is soon to be gone. Well, think about that. Think about that for a second. How many things in your life are you interacting with where there's something in the middle? For me, it's a lot. There's a lot of things in the middle. There are people in the middle of the food that I want to eat, from the grower or the what have you, to me getting it. There are a lot of people in the middle. The taxis are in. There's a dispatch person in the middle. I use Uber, Airbnb, and there are many more. There's Amazon. Amazon is in the middle of a lot of things for me, right? Things that I want. There will be decentralized marketplaces, and trust me when I tell you, they will give Amazon a run for its money. Now, I'm not saying Amazon's going away. I'm not saying any of that, but I'm saying every single thing that is in the middle, sucking value out of a transaction between me and the person that wants to provide me the thing, there's a shot across the bow. It's been had, and digital assets are bringing that. So when people are saying, "Oh man, the market, I don't know, the market's, shit, fuck, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? How do you not look at what's going on right now and go, will somebody please buy one of my spare kidneys?" Right? When prices drop like this and the value proposition only gets stronger every day, how do you not rip your hair out trying to figure out, how can I get some capital to buy some of this stuff? I did. I took a loan. I took another loan. I'm up to 12% loan to value. I'm going to keep it there for right now. I could do another 8 or 9 or 10%, and feel completely comfortable within my realm of stuff. But I'm saving that kind of. I wanted to transition into how to respond to this market. So Brady, I plan to do 3 things. I have a 3-step plan to deal with the market the way it is today. Have you been thinking about how you want to address or be in this market right now?
Yes and no, but figuring out all the in-betweens. Or at least figuring out figuring out which way I need to lean to get the best information from what I have available to me, I guess, at hand or closest available.
Okay.
And also planning a move is throwing a curveball in that too.
This is a very tangible thing. My step number 1, and I've been working on this with my son. I've had to take him through every single asset in the portfolio, and here's where the wallet is. This is the mechanism. This is that. I am unleashing the yield monster. I'm taking the leash off, Brady. That's right. All these assets that have been carefully acquired and put into a system, whether it be their own, if it's a proof of stake layer 1 protocol, then it's easy. You just find its specific wallet, stake it, get the compounding yield working on itself. I'm going to unleash all of it. I'm going to gather up the yield every month, and I am going from 31 assets to I'm going to take some cash, and then I'm only going to invest in 4 assets. I'm going to take the yield from 27 of my assets and direct them to a couple assets. That is unleashing the yield monster. I've been working on this portfolio for a long time. As y'all know, I'm a big fan of yield. Kind of don't invest in things that I can't figure out some way to rub 2 nickels together to try to get a quarter. It's time. And I went through all this with my son. Okay, I was like, this is how we're going to do it. Some of these assets are on a quarterly basis and some are on a monthly basis. And we got the spreadsheet set up, got a plan, showed them where all the things got to go. We're going to use this DEX or that DEX. This one we have to use an exchange. We have to use an exchange. That whole kind of like the map of the A, B, C, and the D, how we're going to do it. And I feel confident. It actually feels good to start thinking about beyond the construction and the building part to now actually starting to, I'm going to capture some of this value and we're going to do something really constructive with it. And that is collapse a lot of these assets, the yield from them, into the 4 most bankable, right? The 4 assets that have the most pristine value as it pertains to collateral, because my end goal, right, is to finance my entire dream of what I'm build down here and the property that I'm buying down here through collateralized loans. And the only way you can do that is you got to have collateral, right? And the last I looked, you can't get a collateralized loan on Zilliqa, but you can Bitcoin. Make sense?
Oh yeah, indeed. I got kicked in the softies.
What was that?
I got kicked in the softies regarding yield.
Why?
Nexo sniffed out my New York residence and said, "See ya."
Oh no!
So I have to fandangle my fidgets and get some things in order to get my yield leashes back.
Oh
Oy vey.
no! Well, lucky for you, you still have access to a whole world of the DEXs and liquidity pool shit. I mean, I'm not totally clear I don't use a lot of those things, but
They are enticing.
boy, I can't even a world without yield on my assets. I don't even know how I would act.
It's like getting fired from everywhere all at the same time.
Well, I mean, it wasn't much in the very beginning, but I mean, I'm 2.5 years into this little yield thing, and
Bonanza.
yeah, and I'll tell you, I mean, obviously, when the market goes down, the actual value of the yield I'm generating goes, but it doesn't change. I still earn 0.03 Bitcoin. You know what I mean? That doesn't change. It's just the value of the Bitcoin changes, or the 0.175 Ethereum. Well, Ethereum's in the dirt right now, but it's still,
still stacking.
The point is,
yeah,
I'm going to turn this into money and we're going to do stuff with it. So I'm going to collapse into the assets that are the most collateralizable, if that's even a word, that are the highest form of collateral, and try to build those up because I want to keep my loan to value ratios, low. That's important.
Do you see and I'm just thinking of Cardano in particular, do you see holding ADA on Nexo because you can collateralize it slightly better than Daedalus? Got it. That's what I figured.
I'll tell you why I'm doing that now. I made a very conscious decision to not collateralize Bitcoin, and because Bitcoin's my largest holding by dollar volume, amount.
Right.
That means I have had to collateralize a lot of other assets. Right?
Yeah.
And so, I love DOT. I love DOT, and I'm collateralizing DOT. Even though I could be earning 12% on DOT, I'm collateralizing DOT so I don't collateralize Bitcoin. So it's a
Yeah,
trade.
yeah.
Everybody will have to go through their own deal, and each and every one of us, regardless of what our strategy is, we're going to be faced with. We're going to have to make choices, right? We're going to have to make choices. I'm making some choices. You're going to make some choices. Everybody's going to make some choices. I say, let's all share our ideas with each other. I'll try to take the best of what you got going, add it to what the best that I got going, and see if it can't truly be the best for me. Also, be willing to give up some stuff. Okay, I'm going to read this. This is from JDO. Once traditional finance and gov realize DeFi is a real threat, it will be a real war. Here's the thing about that. Remember when there was a big war on porn? I'm serious as a heart attack. Well, that's maybe not the
Boom.
best.
Oh, he's got jokes.
There was a very concerted effort to try to bring some form of quote unquote internet law or standards around that. I'm telling you, I just don't see how you can ban what you can't take to court. You know what I mean? How
Yeah.
can you stop something you can't stop?
You can't get in front of.
Interesting point. The creator of Terra Luna, who is the current CEO of the Luna Foundation thing, right, is under some heat because Terra Luna is this finance payments thingy, but it's got this weird kind of burn this to create the UST, and then it's algorithmic, so it's got to do this, and I mean it's kind of complex, and this thing is gaining ground. It's gaining ground. Its little UST stable coin is marching up the charts. In other words, the market cap. And it's got this crazy internal 19% yielding deal on the UST coin thing. And so there's all this, it's going to be deemed a security and blah, 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 blah. Why I bring this up is because this dude has built a kill switch and in any moment can hit a kill switch. And now all of a sudden this entire Terra Luna thing is it's just code living up. Good luck shutting down code. It'd be like, good luck shutting down Bitcoin. Take Bitcoin to court. Good luck. Right? We've never, Brady, this is new uncharted territory. I don't care how unhappy somebody is with something. If you have no recourse, you've got no recourse. And then when you have no recourse, generally your only course is acceptance. Because resistance is futile to something you have no control over. Right? And when there is no timer, it's not like you can sweat somebody out. It's not like you can freeze somebody's bank accounts. Because that's generally how they get people to comply. Liens and arrests and freezing you out of the world that you want to be a part of. You can't do that with these things. It's going to be really interesting. Anyway, folks, I'm looking at the clock. We're 45 minutes into this. I don't have a whole lot more to say. Hang on, Kelly, have you looked into Yieldly for algo? At Jerry V. Hall. Well, Kelly, I haven't, but I should. All I'm doing with my Algorand is it's sitting in the My Algo wallet, knocking out 7-8% yield or whatever the protocol has given me, I'm taking. So I will look into that. I'm going to put a little note. I hope that's the correct spelling because that's what I'm going to write down. Yieldly for algo, and that'll be the Google search that I use. Yieldly for algo.
It's like Calendly, but for your yield.
Yay, I like it. So JDO is saying you can slow down any internet process so it is not able to deliver the service customers demand. How? Who controls DNS? Companies that exist at the behest of the US government. All right, if JDO, I think you know more about this than me. I'm going to say you're right, and I'm not even sure what that means. But if you're saying that just that you don't need to go after a company to shut something down on the computer, okay, I believe it. Oh, it's a whole nother thing, Kelly. Kelly's saying Yieldly is it like a thing, and they got their own coin. Oh, great! So I got to buy a coin to earn more on my algo. Oh man, I don't know about all that. Pamela, I've never seen Pamela in the stream before. Crypto is too big worldwide. They can't take it to court. That a girl. You're right, Pamela. Welcome to the show. Speak the truth. I love it. Oh, JDO is on fire, man. Throw that up there. What does he say? The government does not need to directly stop DeFi. It can
Hamstring.
the on and off ramps in addition. Ooh, okay. Only the on and off ramps in the jurisdiction it covers. So, for instance, in the United States, the SEC can hamstring the on and off ramps of United States citizens in that what do they call it, jurisdiction. Therefore, okay, I think, is that what you're saying? Like if they won't let Coinbase let you transfer something to a wallet they don't know what it is. Like Coinbase would have to comply and not allow you to move your digital assets off of Coinbase to a DeFi wallet or your own personal wallet, and then you move it from a personal wallet to a DeFi. Ooh, boy, okay, I believe you. I believe it's possible. I don't know.
Would that be like a forced, coerced whitelisting?
Oh, you might be forced and coerced, and I don't know. I'm glad I'm in Costa Rica. I am. I really am, dude. Brady, I haven't talked to you a lot since the last time we did a live stream. So I'll tell you, like we tell a couple thousand of our closest friends.
We'll have a conversation.
This 5-acre lot that surrounds the property that I already bought is
the empty one.
Oh, it's huge. It's 5 acres up the mountain, dude.
Ooh.
The views as you get higher, as you get above my lot and go up the mountain, the views just get better and better and better. I mean, it is incredible. And the waterfall that's on my property is being fed by a river that goes through the whole 5 acres. So I got a river going through the 5 acres direct in the middle. So I just have to build a bridge over the river to have access to the whole enchilada.
Your place will be the visitor center.
I will have a visitor center in Perez Zeledon, Costa Rica. And guess what I also found out?
What?
That they are planning to build an international airport southern part of the country in my county. That's right, Kelly Slade.
What?
Yeah, Julia, I found out there are plans on the table to bring an international airport within the next 10 years to Perez Zeledon. No more 4-hour trip to San Jose.
That is, I think as your portfolio balance increases, I think you're just going to have to buy more and more land uphill from your land and just keep stacking on top of your land.
That's why you should always be nice to your neighbors, because you never know when you're going to buy all their property from them.
And they don't either. That's why you got to be nice.
No, you should be nice to your neighbors just because it's the right thing to do. But that's how this property that I'm buying now came about. I went around and got my real estate guy to help introduce me to all the people that own property around me. Hi, I'm Jerry. I'm buying this property. I'm going to be your neighbor. I want to be a good neighbor. You know, how are things? How do you like it around here? All that kind of small
Yeah.
talk stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I ran into one of the guys downtown, one of my neighbors, started a broken English, broken Spanish kind of conversation that turned into an exchange of phone numbers, which turned into, hey, I was thinking if you guys ever interested in possibly selling, and as a matter of fact, Jerry, we are interested in selling. We really need some money. I said, well, how much money do you really need? Well, we need this much money. I go, really? How much property you want to sell? We want to sell 5 acres for that much money. Yeah. Okay. I'll be
Yikes.
right here. Don't need to put it up for sale. I'll just buy it.
Let me go to my Nexo account.
We're gonna close this month, January.
That's cool. Wow.
Yeah. It's way cool, and it's all a direct result of doing 2 things consistently. Staying in the market, right? Not selling during times like now, even when you kind of like want to go, oh man, I remember what it felt like to live to 2018 and 2019, and that sucked, and it was 2 years of is this ever going to change? I mean, I don't know about you, Brady, but I spent 2 years every single day. Is this ever gonna change?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? That's a
that
long.
was like, yeah.
Oh man, did I make the worst decision of my life? Only I could turn 50 grand into 20 grand. You know what I mean? Everybody
Yeah.
else is making money. The Wall Street, the Nasdaq is exploding. The S&P 500 index is going up every single year, and I'm sitting here losing money, hemorrhaging money. And I don't mean like I lost it and then it just stayed stable. No, it was 2 years of constantly going down. That sucks.
The demoralizing kind of losing money.
Demoralizing, yes. Having to tune in to digital asset investor just to hopefully get my spirits brought up. Tune into a bearable bull video just to get kind of pumped a little bit so I don't crash my freaking wrists, crawl under a rock. But it gave me 2 years to study and learn and try to understand what's going on. So anyway, okay, we're going to finish with this little number right here from JDO. An old saying, time in the market beats timing the market. And when you can figure that out and understand that, folks, you too are ready to transition from Bitcoin and a small basket of layer ones to the metaverse. That was a joke.
Wait, what was the
Wait.
stay in the metaverse? No, don't do that. The stay in the market was number 1. I think he's had number 2, or you said there was a 2 thing.
I had 3
or
things.
2 things. 3 things.
Yield machine.
No, the 2 consistent things. Or you've been doing 2 things consistently.
I didn't get out of the market, and I studied every day. Learning, trying to understand money, the history of money, the markets, period. Nick Black's show. I mean, geez, what was it? It was 3 or 4 months where we didn't barely even talked about crypto. We were talking about cognizant biases. We were talking about game theory. You know what I mean?
Yep.
These things help you understand. When you understand game theory, it sure is a hell of a lot easier to discern rational and value from irrational bullshit.
It gives you a compass.
It gives you a friggin' compass. Thank you. And when you can self-analyze and walk through a list of 25 cognitive biases and go, how much of this bias am I filtering right now? How much of this am I exhibiting right now? And once you understand that, you can go, okay, well, at least I understand. Do I want to keep doing that? Do I want to keep doing that? Or do I want to do something that will produce more productive outcomes? I get to make a choice based in what? Some kind of rationale, like a intellectual honesty almost. So yeah, those were the two things I did. Stayed in the market and studied. And I hope all of you that are getting queasy stomachs and uncomfortable feelings about your place in this market right now come up with the couple of things that you're going to do no matter what. No matter what, you're going to do this. And I hope that they add a tremendous amount of value, not only to you in the present, but for you going forward. Because at the end of the day, I hope that you're like me and that you want to be a better investor tomorrow than you are today through the work that you're doing today. All right. So, folks, I'm glad to be back on YouTube. I'm glad to be back with my buddy and producer, Brady. Look forward to doing all kinds of fun stuff with y'all this year. We'll get some guests lined up. We'll get some great topics. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you for those of you that have sent me messages and your concerns and your condolences and your best wishes for me as I get back on the road to prosperity and serenity and good health. And this year, this is our year. This is our year to learn and expand ourselves as human beings, to improve our quality of life and add value to our portfolios, even when the prices are going down. See everybody. Pura vida.